Hello, Austin County. Today I am here with Eunice Adejo of the Department of Family and Protective Services. She's going to talk about preventing elder abuse. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, before we dive in, I want to remind everybody to like, subscribe, and share our YouTube channel so we continue to get the word out on all these important things that are happening in Austin County. All right, so DFPS, lovely acronym, Department of Family Protective Services. Okay, so we've had child abuse on, so you are elder abuse. What are we looking for? What is...
So with adult protective services, so we investigate any allegations of abuse, neglect, or exploitation in anybody over the age of 65, or if they're under the age of 65, they have to have like a severe impairment, maybe cerebral palsy, maybe it's autism to the point where they can't take care of their daily needs. Okay. So we go out and investigate and see, okay, is this person in a state of abuse, neglect, or exploitation in their home or in the community? So a caseworker can go out, investigate, and try to alleviate the situation.
Okay. And I know that June, which just passed, is Elder Abuse Awareness Month. And so how did that come about? Did they pick June for a particular reason?
So it used to be in May, because May is Older Americans Month, but it started getting overshadowed by Older Americans Month, so they moved it to June. And then June 15th became official Elder Abuse Awareness Day. So during that month throughout the state, our community engagement specialists, they go out, they do walks sometimes, depending on the heat, because it is, they go out, do walks. We have educational conferences. So like here in Houston, we had a conference for professionals that work with seniors. So they know the different times of levels. Sometimes I learned there's different levels of medical or hospice neglect that happens in hospice sometimes. So I learned about that. And then we also do maybe supply drives, and we go out in the community and do APS 101s for seniors, senior centers, any place where seniors congregate. We try to get the word out about what it is.
So you do a lot. All right, and then the next one is October, and I've got my slides out of order, so we're going to be flipping back and forth. October is Financial Exploitation Awareness Month, and I know that is a huge problem, especially, with your older people not understanding. You have younger people that swoop in and say, hey. And so what are some of the things that you see?
So a lot of times it might be what they call long-lasting niece or nephew. They can come in and say, hey, we're taking care of our aunt or our uncle. They get access to maybe their information, their bank account, their debit cards. Maybe the aunt is like, okay, you can have my card. You can go buy some groceries for the house, maybe get some gas for your car. But then in some instances, that person will go out, start buying Amazon purchases, pay their own personal bills, and just use it for their own personal gain. Or sometimes we have where it's they'll go the legal route. They become a POA, and then they get access to all of their financials, and then they start siphoning out money from that person's account. I know one of our supervisors said like years ago they had a case that was almost $5 million.
$5 million?
The son took almost $5 million from the dad. He's like, well, and this is in a lot of the cases, they're like, well, I'm going to get the inheritance anyway. I'm going to go ahead and take it now. And then one of the issues is because it's usually their children or our younger relatives, they're like, well, we don't want to prosecute them because it's family. We're like, well, there's only so much we can do. We can stop the bleed, but we can't recover the money a lot of the times.
And I thought it was only just scammers who were, doing it.
It's families.
That's absolutely terrible. All right. So how are some ways that I would, I guess, figure out or identify that my elderly neighbor, friend, person I see in the grocery store or church are being abused?
It could be, you can observe their behavior. Maybe if they're that Miss Irma Jean that was always saying hi every morning, or they're always willing, they're moving more, they're more active, and then all of a sudden maybe someone comes into their lives and you can start to see the decline in that joyful behavior that they have. That can be something to look out for. If there's unexplained bruises, that can be something to look out for. If she's not on the medication that can cause bruising.
Right.
They look out for that. For the financial part, if they were able to take care of themselves financially, maybe a couple months back, and then all of a sudden they unable to even buy groceries for themselves, that could be an indicator of financial exploitation.
Well, I was going to say too is I know, and I don't know if it's considered abuse, but like when they isolate them from the rest of the family.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
a part of it as well too.
And that's the thing is, you say, like you said, Aunt Irma, who's always, come to everybody's birthday party, and all of a sudden they're like, well, I can't come to the birthday party. Why not? Well, I just can't.
Or they become their spokesperson.
I was going to say, because, Cousin Joe has moved in, and all of a sudden it's like, well, I've got to ask Joe if I can do this. That could be
another indicator.
Okay, so it's basically manipulating them, and you can report things like that where they are.
If they're in this is the issue with APS is if they're of sound mind and they say no, it's okay. We can only do so much. We can just maybe just look at your finances a little bit more in detail. But a lot of the times, if it is a relative and that relative is taking the time out or supposedly taking the time out to take care of them, they won't. They'll just say no, it's not happening.
So the biggest things are the actual abuse, like the bruises, broken bones, showing signs of not having the medication they need, things like that. Okay, but that's such a shame because bless their hearts, a lot of them are, they're like kids, and then you're.
Yeah, a lot of them are lonely, and that's what leads to a lot of the instances of abuse, and then financial exploitation is they just want to talk to somebody.
Yeah.
So we are saying if you're in the community and Miss Irma's at the house by herself for the last how many months, go pop in and say hi, and I'm pretty sure she has a good story to tell.
Oh yeah,
and she'll love you being there.
Take her a chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah, take her some chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't saying that's even would be one of these things of take them to church.
Yeah. And that's another thing. If they're active in the community, it kind of people are able to detect what's going on with that person rather than if they're in the house by themselves. Yeah. So if they're in the community, more people are able to look out for the signs of either the abuse, neglect, or exploitation.
Okay. And I have a website here that you told me about. It is the Protect Texas Adults.
That website, it can show you it explains everything, what abuse is, what are the signs. So like it says, if they're being abused, they'll be ashamed or they're a little bit angry or they're anxious around the individual that's the perpetrator. They're reluctant to talk openly. Like that Irma Jean was able to say everything, her whole business at one point.
Right. And
then her nephew comes in and now she doesn't want to talk at all. That's an indicator as well. But the website tells you all the different types of abuse and neglect, how to prevent it, and then the reporting.
That's what I'm saying. It tells you how to report it. So once I make that report, okay, so Miss Irma Jean, all of a sudden, she come to church. Her nephew, Joe, has moved in. I've noticed Miss Irma Jean has a broken arm now. Don't know that she's fallen, and I need to make a report. Do I have to worry about Joe coming and getting me because he's obviously not a nice person?
When you report, it's an anonymous. So once you call in, you don't have to. You have to provide your name so that if the caseworker needs to get more information, they can call you just to kind of fill in those gaps.
Right.
But they will not tell the individual that, oh yeah, this person and they reported it.
Okay. Yeah, because people are always afraid of getting in trouble, litigation. They're afraid Joe's going to wait for him after church one day.
The thing is, I've talked to somebody, they're like, oh, I'm going to tell her I'm a reporter to APS. Like, don't tell them you're going to report.
Right.
Because if somebody does, it's going to go back to you.
Right.
So if you
kind of put yourself on a...
Yeah. So you just kind of keep it to yourself. Start documenting what you've seen and then report it. So
that's another thing. How much documentation do you have to have?
You don't need too much, but it is whenever you're doing the reporting to give the who, what, when, where, why.
Okay.
So give her name, her address, her phone number if you have it, the perpetrator's name if you have it, and where they're living, and then give what are they doing? What are the signs you've noticed? Has anything changed? Are they taking medication that might cause bruising, so that the caseworker, when they go out and investigate, they can look and say, okay, yeah, this person's taking this medication that causes bruising. So that might not be an indicator of the abuse.
So what if my brother and I, mom's in the house by herself. My brother decides he's going to move in. I'm mad because he's moved in, because mom's now paying his bills. He's not forcing her to. She just says, "Oh, honey, you're taking care of me. Let me make sure your car insurance is paid and stuff because you take me to the doctor." And I get mad, and I'm like, "Well, you know what? That's a bunch of baloney. I notice mom has a bruise. So I'm gonna call and I'm gonna say, hey, I think my brother's abusing my mom." And I call and I have my cousins. I say, hey, I think he's abusing her. You need to call. So maliciously reporting like that because I'm mad at my brother for doing this. Do we get in trouble for that?
I'm not I think you don't get in trouble, but after a while there's a call log of, okay, this person has been calling this many times. Every time the caseworker has gone out, it's been considered invalid. So they'll just look at it and be like, okay, maybe that's not a valid. They'll go out and check it, and then they'll.
So, but you're wasting valuable resources
when you're trying to use DFPS as a retaliation tool.
And you hear about that, and that's the thing is that. But anyway, that's what I wondered about that, and I know that they have a. Can you report here? And then I know there's this Department of Protective Services. Are they separate? Should you report to one or the other?
Yes. So that 1-800-252-5400, it goes for both APS and CPS.
Okay.
So it goes into that hotline, and then they're able to separate it to the designated department.
Okay. All right. That's another thing I wondered. Okay. And the people who need things, we talked to the people about child protective services, and they had a rainbow room, and I understand elder care has a silver star room.
Yeah, silver star room.
Okay.
So we usually have those around the region. So those are kind of emergency stop resource rooms for our caseworkers. So if they get called at midnight and they run into a client that maybe they haven't showered in so many days, and they need some toiletries, soap, deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, the caseworkers can go to the store, to the silver star room, collect it and give it to that client, so that we're transitioning from that not so great situation to a better situation. They have something to tie them over.
Okay, and that's what this is both the rainbow room and the silver rooms. They're both at the same place. Okay. And so do you guys are there drives for these things, or is this one of those things of it's up to the, like the churches might be like, what today, this month we're going to collect for the
So if a church wants to, they can set up a drive, and then they can contact me, and then I can come and pick it up and then put it into the Silver Star rooms. Okay. So churches can put on drives, civic groups can put on drives in order to benefit the Silver Star room. So we usually need anything from adult diapers, toiletry items, clothing, or new clothing. Because same thing.
So it all needs to be new.
It all needs to be new.
Okay.
What else? Towels, washcloths, things like that, and walkers. That's another thing we're needing every once in a while.
So that's the thing is, okay, now if I have, my dad passes away and I have a nice walker, can I donate that?
Yeah, if the equipment is still in relatively good conditions, not stained, the foam isn't tearing apart,
okay,
and it just needs to be cleaned up a little bit, we can take those.
Okay, because I know, like when my grandmother passed, for this lovely wheelchair, it was too small because she was a petite woman. None of my family could use it, and it just sat there. And so eventually we found somebody to donate it to. But that was the thing is, you're like, this is a good chair. Somebody could use it. So, but y'all always need things. I mean, this is an ongoing thing. It's never going to stop.
Sadly, it's not.
Okay, sadly, it's not. It's an always event. That was the Silver Star room. Okay, so when like you have businesses and civic groups and stuff that can support it. And then you mentioned something that we're going back a little bit. The different kinds of abuse you had mentioned when we were talking earlier about hospice, patients who are neglected or abused in hospice.
So those
or in hospitals or things like that.
If it's hospice and it's in their home, then we can investigate. But if it's a hospice and it's in a facility, we can investigate. So we usually have to do it when it's in the community, meeting their house, somebody else's home, because the hospice, if the facility is considered a safe place.
Okay.
So we can't go in there and say we're going to remove them.
Okay.
But we can refer them to maybe the ombudsman program that the Houston Galveston Area Council area on aging.
Yeah.
They have that. So we can refer that to them. But it's meant to report that there's something going on in that facility. But if they are in the home, we can come out, investigate, and help coordinate services.
Okay. Now, respite and caregiver support. Okay, so I'm taking care of mom, right? And I'm like, I'm really at the end. My brother's a deadbeat. He's not going to help me. Do y'all help with that? Like, look, I think, mom is really on my last nerve. I need some help. I don't have anybody. Churches can't help me. Can y'all get in contact with some people and help?
We can work with some partner agencies that we work with and see if they would able to come out and offer the respite care.
Okay.
But if there is a church, maybe church or civic groups can come together and put together respite services.
But that's not necessarily anything y'all handle.
Yeah, we won't be able to do that.
Okay. And that the thing is a lot of people don't know these things. And, I could see them calling and going, hey,
And then we also refer them to 211 because 211 has that infinite list of services around the state of Texas.
All right. When you have child protective services, like they remove the elderly and the children, and they will put them in foster care. Do you have something like that for the elderly?
We don't. We have partner agencies if it is a need that we will try to get them situated in their house if it's okay. Like if we don't need, if there's no, the house isn't falling apart or anything, we can keep them in their home. They're not being abused. They just maybe their house needs to be fixed up. Okay. We'll try to do services to get the house together. But in those instances where maybe the perpetrators owns the home and they can't stay there, then we'll work with the list of, our caseworkers have a list and partner agencies that can help refer them to either like a personal care home or a nursing facility.
So you really are, like with child protective services, they can come in and take those kids and get them out of there, but you're really kind of hamstrung with the adults because they are adults.
Yeah, and they have the ability, if they're in their right mind, they have the ability to say, no, I don't want services, I'm okay.
Oh, and so it's good and it's bad because it's good if they truly are not, having a problem, or if they, had their son and he was a deadbeat and then he moved out, they can still be there and everything. But it kind of,
I know a lot of people get frustrated when they report to APS. Like, oh, I know this is going on.
Right.
And they're like, we report to APS and APS didn't do anything. I'm like, well, they're of sound mind. We can only do so much. They're adults. So,
right. You can't make,
we can't make them do anything. But if there is some like dementia or something like that, or looks like they need a diagnosis, then we can kind of step in and try to push them to get to a better place.
I was going to say, I don't know if we did, and if we did, we'll just say it again. What age is considered elder?
Elder for DFPS is 65 and older.
Okay.
And then if you're under 65, you have to have a substantial impairment, meaning you're unable to take care of your daily needs. So you're unable to take care of your bills. You're unable to wash yourself, take your medication when needed.
Okay. So that's the thing. All right. And do you do like training and things to help the community become more proactive in you don't want to say policing, but caring for the elder neighbors?
So myself and my coworker, we gotta go out throughout Region 6 and we go out and do these APS 101s to let everybody know like how the website shows what abuse is, what it looks like, what are the statistics, how to report a case, and then also just what to do in those situations. We usually do like a Q&A after the one-on-one presentation so that people can ask those questions that they need.
Okay. And so that's the thing, is we will have all your information at the end. So if, I decide that my church group, my church ladies group, we want to put this on, we can contact you and you'll come out and we'll gather the clergy and the church members and say, here.
And so October's coming up. We're trying to put together things around the region for financial exploitation.
Okay.
So right now we're still in the works, but we're going to put on like a financial awareness where we'll bring in together, if they have, the county attorneys can do something. We work with Senior Medicare Patrol, where they come and to give you the rundown of how people are scamming people through Medicare. Because a lot of time during October, that's when all the seniors get their phone calls saying if you sign up for this program, you're going to get a free wheelchair. And you're like, you don't really need a wheelchair, but they're calling you to get it. So we bring out partners like that and Social Security as well to kind of inform the community about what's available out there.
Okay, yeah, because I just wrote a big article about a big Medicare scamming that went on, and it's frustrating.
It is.
All right, so it looks like, I mean, it sounds terrible, but it's not a lot you can do. You can keep an eye, you can report, you can be vigilant, but as far as removing people, things like that, it's unless they want to, you're pretty much stuck. Okay, now here's the next thing I wanted to ask is, okay, say, Miss Mary, I know that her daughter and a couple of kids are living in the house with her. So I go out and I check on Miss Mary, knock on the door, she says, come in. I come in with, box of cookies and whatever. And I notice that there are half naked, starving children in the other room. Do I say, hey, can you help me? Do I call a different number?
I would see how they react to the cookies, because the kids are like, they might devour it. Or I would kind of keep an eye on it. Maybe that was just a one-off situation. But if you go the next day and they're still naked, no clothes, no food, and maybe just one more time, they'd be like, okay, let me call the 1-800 number and make the report of this is what she's...
that they'll think about, daughter moves the kids in, and she goes out with, boyfriend, and they decide to go to Honolulu or whatever, and leave Miss Mary, who's wheelchair bound with these kids. So that would be a bad situation. But because stuff like that happens, you don't hear about it that often, but it does. They have deadbeat kids sometimes. Luckily, I'm not one of those. Mom, Dad, I love you. We take care of ours. But is there anything that I've missed? Have we gone over it all?
We went about it.
Okay. The big thing is that people need to know that it's simple to report. You're not going to get in any trouble.
Yeah.
And is it better to report it and be wrong than to...
Yes, it's better to report than to be wrong, because we don't want it to be a situation where if you would have reported, you would have saved a life.
Okay.
So I'd rather be on the side of caution and just report it if you see.
Okay. Now, like I know with the child... If you're 18, Child Protective Services, if you're 18 or above, you're required to report. What about elder abuse?
Same thing. Everybody in the state of Texas over the age of 18 is a mandatory reporter. Yeah.
So we got to keep vigilant, because it really is. That's bad, because you're elderly. It sounds terrible. Even though they're in their right mind, they are still fragile like children.
Yes. And a lot of times maybe they've been so used to doing things for themselves that they think they can still do it as if they were 25 years old. So that's when a lot of them fall into a state of self-neglect. Their house is falling apart. They can't manage their finances like they used to. It's just
get medication.
And they forget medication. So that's when if you're observing that, step in and just report. And maybe APS can come in and try to help them if they accept the help.
If they accept the help, yeah. That's always the problem, is if they accept it. But anyway, well, everything you've told us about, all the websites, all of that good stuff, we're going to put it at the end of this so that the people of Austin County will be able to find it. Promise that you'll come back near October and give us a rundown on what's going on, so we can keep it out there, because it sounds terrible. Everybody hears about child abuse. You don't hear about elder abuse that much, even though it's just as much of a problem. So
we're the forgotten side sometimes.
Yeah, it really is, and it's sad, but we appreciate everything you do, and for coming and visiting with us today.
Having me.
And you promised to come back, so we're good with that. And Austin County, that's about it. If you have older neighbors or older family members, keep an eye on them. And that's it for today. So if you don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our YouTube channel, so we continue to get all these important things out to you. And until next time, Austin County, keep smiling.